Hey guys, this is Dr. Danny Lee Harris coming to you with another episode of In Spite of. And today we're talking about a very sensitive subject, the subject of suicide. And I want to break down suicide into two different categories. You have unconscious suicide and you have conscious suicide. Unconscious suicide is something that we do to ourselves without the intent of harming or bringing harm to ourselves, but we understand that what we are doing can and probably will cause harm to us later. For example, the things that we eat, and we know that we may have some medical issues that it may not be wise to eat certain foods. You could have hypertension, high blood pressure, sugar diabetes, and the list goes on and on and on. From arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, to arthritis, to things that we do to our bodies and things that happen to our bodies, and what we putting in our bodies is causing more damage to ourselves. That's unconscious suicide. If I know that my cholesterol is high and I just sit around eating dairy all day, I consciously know that I am not, probably shouldn't be eating this, but subconsciously I'm actually causing harm or physical suicide to myself. I am shaving years off my life by what I'm doing to myself today. I believe in enjoying the moment. I believe in enjoy the moment and live. And some people feel that it's okay to do whatever they want to do in this moment because we have to die somehow, at some point through some means anyway. I choose to not think that way. If I know, for me personally, I want to see my grandkids and hopefully my great grands and things like that. So I want to take care of myself now. And that's for people who want to, prolong this beautiful thing called life. The fact that I can do that is life. That is air. That is what's maintaining this human garage of mine. And that's what this is. This physique is a human garage. I am a spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And while I'm having this temporary experience, I choose to stay and have as many experiences as possible. That is unconscious suicide. I used to be a smoker, and I smoked a pack of cigarettes a day for about 20 years. And I remember chasing people. I'm a retired police officer, and I remember chasing people, and I would be so winded and out of breath. And I made the conscious decision to give up smoking and allow myself to just breathe deep and without feeling like I was going to pass out. That is just a conscious decision that I personally made in order to increase my health. I stopped eating red meat. I stopped frying foods. I did things to increase my chances of living a longer, healthier, and I feel better. That's the best thing about it is the long-term effects is a great thing, but the best thing about it is in this moment, in this right now, I feel magnificent. My body feels great. I don't feel bogged down and sluggish and things like that, which is what certain types of food did for me. So that's the unconscious suicide. There is another thing that we have, and it's considered, it is called, that's unconscious suicide. It's called conscious suicide. And conscious suicide is when life has gotten really hard. And I'm in a room full of people, but I yet feel so alone. No one understands my struggles. No one understands what I'm going through. No one understands what I've been through and the things that I have survived. But these memories are plaguing my mind. I might have a struggle or a demon that I'm dealing with. And I don't think anybody understands this demon or how hard it is to get over and overcome what I'm feeling, what I'm going through. You could have a substance abuse problem and you pick up the bottle or you pick up that drug of choice and you say, this is gonna make me feel good right now. This is my escape from what I'm going through in my reality. Or this is my escape from what I've been through in my past. And it makes me feel okay right now. I forget about all of that. And I enjoy my high. And that may be the reasons why you do the things that you do, or the reasons why I've done the things that I have done. And in that moment, you're doing it in order to escape what you're feeling. And I always say, and I will always believe, that the strongest people to ever grace this human garage, this thing called life, is those that made a decision to check out. And let me say this, and this is the reason why I say that. It takes a strong individual, a strong person to say, I've had some good days, but I'm in so much pain right now. I have to muster up the strength to end it because of the amount of pain that I'm in. That takes strength. Some people say that people who commit suicide are cowards and they're selfish, and I choose to look, and my perspective is different now, because I've been there in my life where I knew it just took that one situation to push me over the edge. It could be your family abandoned you. Your business failed. You feel disappointed in yourself about things and decisions that you made. Your reputation is shot. You feel like the whole world is looking at you in judgmental eyes. And we live in a society now that promotes selfishness and bitterness and bickering and, war instead of peace, and separation instead of unity. This is what we encounter. And it takes different perspectives to move you out of your place of not being comfortable, to understand that contrast and is the beauty of life. When you have life's contrast, it teaches us what we like and then what we don't like, where we are and where we want to be. It teaches you, I can make it. It gives you strength. Life contrast gives you strength. And it's very difficult to go through some of life contrast and feel alone and feel like you could make it. But there's this thing I want to share with you guys. And it's this thing that's on the inside of you called your spirit. And it's here, and it was created just for you. And it's here to help guide you through this thing called life. If you just go within, you have a little beacon of light called the Holy Spirit. It's called the I am of you. When you're just sitting in your stillness and you recognize the life force that you come from and who you are and all the things that you are here to do. And you can't do them if you check out. Your test is supposed to become a testimony, and that testimony becomes triumphs for other people going through the exact same thing. So I know it's dark, and I know it seems like the sun is never going to come out, but I promise you, the clouds have to lift. It has to. The rain has to stop. And the sun has to come back out and shine again. And when you get to the other side, I have learned personally that when you get to the other side of all of what you're going through, the best of life is yet to come. It is when you go through some of the toughest things in life that you realize the beauty in life. Again, that contrast. It is when you're going through the toughest things in life that you say, wow, if I would have checked out then, I wouldn't have all of this now. And when I felt my lowest, and when I felt I was in my darkest place, I looked within to muster up the strength to keep pushing and keep pressing when I didn't feel like it. I have children, and I looked at my youngest child, who at the time needed me the most. She was months old. And I just wanted to bring so much happiness to her life. And I know I wouldn't be able to do that if I wasn't here. So I had things to think other than and bring myself out of myself in order to get through my darkest days. And I am so grateful I did. I am nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm so far away from where I've been. And because my perspective changed, and because of the contrast that I went through at that time, the darkest time of my life, I have such a different outlook and different perspective of life. And no one can hold me to my past. All the things and the mistakes that I've made back then, it's okay, because I'm here to make mistakes. I'm a perfect spiritual being in an imperfect body. That's contrast and polarity. So that means I'm going to mess up. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to disappoint folk. I'm going to disappoint myself. But I got to do this. I got to brush myself off and keep pressing, because I know that I'm here to inspire and to turned my darkest days into someone else's brightest days to come by sharing my testimonies, by sharing hope, by telling people the best is yet to come. Because I promise you, if you keep pressing and you keep living, you'll see the best is yet to come. There's nothing wrong with being in pain, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to get out that pain. I just encourage you to understand that the best of your life is yet to come. Share your pain. And there's some selfish people out here, and there's some people who don't care, and there's some people who will take the time to exploit your pain. We have that type of contrast in this world. We have the really good and we have the really bad. And we have those that's mediocre. We have all those. Excuse me, the flies want to get me. We have all those in between. But keep pressing. Keep pressing. Keep pressing. Keep believing. Keep hoping. Keep that glimmer of hope and that light, that beacon of light that's on the inside of you. And recognize that your life was so unique that only you can share your gifts and spread love through your gifts and skill sets in a way that no one else that will ever grace this earth will ever be able to do. So I encourage you to seek help. Don't go and give up. Even as hard as it may seem right now, there are so many people that need to hear your story one way or the other in your own little world. We all have these little worlds, and there's 8 billion of these little worlds in the world because there's 8 billion plus people in the world. And we all have our little circles, and we all have our little worlds, and we need each other because we're interconnected, and we have got to remember that we are all interconnected. I need you. You need me. And as long as we remember that, we come from the same. Doesn't matter what socioeconomic class you're in. It doesn't matter if you live in the suburbs or the city. It doesn't matter if you live in any city. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter if you're black or white or short or tall or big or small. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. The very air that you breathe and the very air that I breathe is the same. You shed my skin, I shed yours. Guess what? We're the same. The only thing that makes us different is our experiences. And those are that's what makes this world so beautiful, our differences. We have all made mistakes, and we will continue to make mistakes as long as we're in this human garage having this experience. But understand, you are a perfect, perfect, perfect spiritual being. And when you take the imperfections and merge them with the perfections, you have the best life experience that you can have in this life, that you can share. It all comes down to one word, one 4-letter word. Love. Love. Loving ourselves, loving our neighbors as ourselves, loving each other, loving our family, even when you feel like they don't deserve it. You love because that's who you are and what you're made of. And I promise you, as you start to throw and plant seeds, somebody's going to come by and water them. You're going to see these beautiful flowers in this thing called life. So I encourage you today. This is all about, in spite of your differences and difficulties today, care and love yourself, to not commit suicide consciously or even subconsciously. Let's take one step at a time. If no one's told you lately, I need to tell you, because I mean it with every fiber in my being. I love you. And I want to see you tomorrow, the next day, the next day. You can comment below. You can reach out to me personally, and I will reply back. I just feel like, again, I went through what I went through, which is my darkest days, in order to encourage somebody else to go through their darkest days so that they can encourage somebody in their world and make sure that they do this thing called beauty of life. I hope that encourages you today, and I hope that you see that you can make it. You can make it. And I know it seems dark, and I know it seems lonely. It does when you're going through it. No one can tell you that your pain ain't real. It is. Your pain is very, very real. But you can make it through the pain. And you can make it to a brighter day. And on that note, I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, remember, in spite of anything you're going through, you can turn this thing called life, page by page. Till next time.